Hey guys, welcome back to Vince-Vell Custom. So today we're going to start a work in progress video series of this Black Lantern Wonder Woman custom statue I'm working on. So as you can pretty much see, I'm not using the hair that came with the Wonder Woman. I'm actually using, going to just go from scratch basically. So tonight I was working on some items and I had some extra A's. So what I did is I rolled out the A's, and what I'm doing is as this starts to harden, because it's fairly thin, it's basically building an armature to work off of. So the idea is to have the hair flowing and stuff. So we'll kind of go over to the computer screen and give you guys an idea of, so that's, see how that hair is kind of flowing all the way to the side, and this statue is kind of almost working perfectly for this picture. So what I want to have to do is I want to have the hair flowing. So it's just basically building an armature at the moment of with this Aves, and then I can start building out strands and I can start working off of this. So it's fairly thin and it kind of falling here and there, but as it starts to harden I keep toying with it, as you can kind of see. Now I may chop some of it, I may scrape some of it off once it hardens up, but it just gives me the idea of just working with it. So as you can see in the back, it's kind of got a little bit of a flow to it. I want to make sure that I can see the other sides of her neckline and stuff over here, so I'm not, trying to go too heavy. So I got to kind of put this in a little bit here as well, behind the ear, just for now. Now, it's not really tacky, and I did use some baby powder. So, like I said, this is just an armature, so I might actually take this off once it starts drying and hardening, and then I could kind of sand down a little bit and then glue it on and then really sculpt around and everything, because I don't really like how it's hitting back in here, but this is just kind of it's just because I don't want to waste this Aves that I used tonight, and I want to make sure I can start building an armature and everything, because I still got to do some other stuff on the statue. So I'm not sure yet if I want to actually go ahead and do the hair first and then the other last parts of her statue, or work on the other parts and then her hair, because it's kind of like each part's going to be kind of fragile. But I'll probably do the hair first now that I'm like, planning my attack on it. So it's just a matter of, like when I do hair, it's just a matter of like, how do I want to do it, build up the armature, and then start working out the flow. I like to work, basically a little each night. I do a couple of strands in one flow here, a couple of strands the other night, because with Aves, I would love to do the whole entire hair in one shot, but with Aves, I find it's better to just sculpt a little bit, let it harden overnight, the next day either chop or sand, and then sculpt a little bit more, and just keep building it up to get where I want it. So, so it's going to have a flow coming around here. I'm not going to go exactly like the artwork, but I'm going to have a flow going and stuff. So, like I said, I just got to keep messing with it, and I want to make sure I can have a flow and strands going here and then flow and strands going over there. So I got to kind of work out the middle. I know it's hard to explain, but it's just kind of how I work hair and just how it all works out. So I'll just toy with this for the rest of the night, because I got to go into some other projects. And then when I come back another day or so and I start building up strands and deciding what I want to do, we'll come back. But it's just a good way of getting your start on hair whenever you want to work with hair. Alright guys, it's the next day, and as you can see I popped off the hair piece and it goes on and off pretty well. So I'm just kind of toying with it, getting ideas, seeing how things are working. So as you can see, this white part here is some extra magic sculpt I worked with today. So instead of wasting this, this piece is going to be a filler. So when I do all my other projects that are in line and stuff, I'll just kind of, any extra magic sculpt A's, fill up this piece and just keep building it up and going from there. So like I said, it's just an armature. It's just to kind of start working out the hair, kind of where I want to get it to go, and I probably will attach this down the line, but it's kind of easier to start using this offhand and kind of do my waves and all that stuff. So we'll be back as I keep filling it up. What I might do is I might just keep filling this up little by little and then do quick videos on it, so this way you don't sit there and see me filling it all the time. It's just kind of building it up until I'm ready to attach this and then start doing detailing hair. Alright guys, it's been a few days. I've been looking at her here and there. I've been trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and so what I did was I broke off the piece up here, and I had some extra A's tonight. So just going to start doing quick videos of just like, turning it just to give you guys an idea. So whenever I have extra A's at night, I'm going to keep building it up till I get the armature of where I want it and how I want it flowing. And then I'll start doing detailing and we'll get closer and better videos on that. So I'm just going to keep going each day and just using A's and building and building and building and just give you guys an idea how it all works out. Alright guys, we're going to start sculpting the hair, and I want to give you a breakdown of what's going to be happening in the video because it's all going to be in fast forward motion, and so this way, because to do this in real time would take hours and hours and hours because I do a little bit each night, so it's going to go all fast, but it gives you an idea of what I'm doing. So as you can see, the hair armature is pretty much there. So the armature is good, it's hardened, it's been like this for a few days. The reason why you see black on it is because Abe's Studio has a for sale section, or like a Super Saver section, and sometimes they take other colors that don't sell well or that's old, or I don't know what's going on, but they put it in for sale section, and it's great for filling up stuff, whether it's a broken statue, you're making a base, you need to redo an arm. It's just cheaper A's, but it works well. So I have red, I picked up a thing of black, and I was just using it all up. So as you can see, that's pretty much where I want the hair to go. So in the video, what you'll see is I'm going to mix up the Abe's Fix-It Sculpt, and this is what I use for sculpting the hair. I like to fix it because it's a little bit more sturdier. It works great for doing hair. It works good for other stuff on statues, but not as well. So it's like I use A's for one thing, I use Magic Sculpt for another, and I use this Fix-It for hair. So they have different grades and different stuff, so you have to just pick it up, you have to test it and see what works for you and what doesn't. They also make safety solvent. Now, safety solvent's great for A's because it softens it, and you can make it almost like a putty. It helps smooth out the A's, and I use it on everything I do with A's. I know some other people have used other chemicals, whether they use water. I don't use water because water actually breaks down the A's, and I've done that on a couple sculpts. And when I first started this, sculpting back in like the early 2000s, the next day the A's is just deteriorating and breaking apart because the water just soaks it all up and screws it up. I know other people have used alcohol and other stuff. Well, I like to use a safety solvent. It's what I started with really when I got into it, and then I stuck with it, and it just works for me. So what I do is I put the safety solvent in a little cup like this, a little glass container, and I sculpt with paintbrushes. I know a lot of people are like, well, why do you use paintbrushes and stuff? But this is the way I sculpt. I don't know why. I started doing it, and it works for me. I usually pick these up a bunch at a time when they have the sales, back to school sales. So these things are usually around like, $1.50 a pop to almost $2 a pop. I buy them in bulk when I can. And you'll see me dipping in the cup, and then you'll see me going like this with the, the hair and stuff and all that. I also have my paper towel, and I dip the, I dip it in here and take off the excess, whether there's little chunks or whether I dipped in too much, because if you put too much safety solvent while you're sculpting, it just becomes a puddle mess, and you don't want to do that. So you gotta find that middle ground. Like I said, it's just the way I work. I'm not saying everyone has to do what I do. It's just that I'm just showing you guys how I sculpt hair and how I use A's and stuff, and it works for me. So it's just the way it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get prepped up. I'm going to mix up my A's. I'm going to get it onto the hair, and then we're going to start sculpting it all out. Now, I don't have a specific like artwork I'm going off of. I don't have a specific style of hair. I just know that I want to have it a flowing hair. I know Wonder Woman's got kind of curly hair. I'm not going to go straight, like perfectly, smooth out hair, but I'm not going to go crazy curly like her. I'm just going to kind of do an in-between. I just like to just sculpt hair and just have the flow with it and have fun. Now I'm going to try to do it with the camera here. At times you might see me like put the statue down, hit the keyboard or whatever because I'm changing music or I'm answering emails. So the video might go on and off, but I'm just going to try to get you to the point where you're seeing where I'm at now to when I finish, and it's going to go fairly fast. So now that we got all that out of the way, we'll get it all mixed up and we'll start sculpting our hair.